You're now watching two old farts making noises.
Wow.
Bum. Oh, I really want to know who that is. I want this album.
I don't know where it came from. It's one of those wonderful gifts that's on the internet, I think, for people who've just
Yeah,
produced
yeah,
them,
yeah, yeah,
so we can use it
yeah.
royalty free. Well, good
It's
morning,
it's
good
nice.
afternoon, good evening to you. Just the two of us, it would seem. Everybody else seems to be out Christmas shopping, and
Yeah,
so not able to join us today. So it's a very European edition. I've got a few European things I'd like to talk about today.
yeah,
Um, yeah, just a few things coming up in the show. I think European politics we seem to have going more and more right wing every
yeah,
minute that passes, and that of course means there's something happening on the left. What's happening on the left? Who knows? We'll have a quick word about that.
yeah.
All the EU climate green deals, seem to be put on ice. And yeah, the last thing I think is that we all seem to be suffering from this new, what they call white lung syndrome, which is everybody's got this incredible cough, at least everybody under 65 who hasn't been inoculated. So that's sort of slowing things down, certainly here in sunny Holland. But before we get into that, we had a discussion before, I think, offering people the opportunity to place an advert on our shows for free. And we're really happy to do that. That's part of the mission of 2OF Entertainment is to,
Bum.
thank you, to support up and coming companies. So we're going to run a quick advert and then it's back to Mort and my good self.
Making the right connections is vital to your business and professional success, but reaching out to strangers is awkward and mostly a waste of time and resources. Imagine a world where AI takes the hassle out of networking. Enter Hero, your noise-free professional network powered by AI. What's so cool about Hero? How about getting your own AI networking assistant that's dedicated to solving your challenges by handpicking connections and opportunities that are right for you? But Hero does more than just meaningful matchmaking. We equip you with a customized storefront accessible to anyone on or off the Hero network to help enhance your brand and boost your revenue, making it easy to turn those meaningful connections into valued customers, all within Hero. Hero is networking as it should be, meaningful conversations with well-meaning people without the noise. Join Hero today and harness the power of strategic AI networking.
Well, that's an advert from Hero AI. I'd be fascinated to see how they're going to grow in the next year or so. Looks like good stuff. But
Yeah,
back
yeah.
back to our normal subject. I know you love your politics. I know you love your European politics. I was just wondered. I think the two things are interconnected, so I'd really like to talk to you about that. First is the demise of left wing politics. It would seem in Europe and
Yeah,
the incredible growth. Everybody's going centre right or completely to the right. I
yeah,
yeah, I don't know how you are you. Is it something that you're experiencing
yeah,
yourself?
yeah. Exactly. I don't know what it is, but I have my minds on it, of course. Sometimes it's normal to be that the left or the right is going. It's like yin yang. But this time, I think it is uh, the climate uh, policies. You know, people are tired of, especially in Europe, because it's Europe and Norway is outside EU, but we are more friends than even you guys who are in EU. You know, so we are incorporated, all of us. So I think I have an idea that maybe it is because we are giving a lot of money to associations, like the European Parliament, of course, Norwegian government, in taxes, and also, you know, it's very expensive now to with power, with petrol, diesel, of course, and everything else almost, because of these things. And I think people are tired to that we see more and more right-winged parties who says and claims that they want to get out of this system, and the UN gets a lot of money, and from especially Europe, and the more powerful states in the world, the more with much more people, like China and India, and well, USA and whatever, and people see that they are taking planes now down to Dubai to discuss this crisis, and they think it's a hoax, or that if it's really true, then why should we? It's okay that Europe and the more rich states are going in front. We always did, you know, with the luckily when the woman got more rights and so on, the Norwegian prime minister was going in the front. But if you're going too much in the front, you will not be a front leader, but you will just be stupid, because you're so much in front that the other people just laughs at you, and you know, the other countries again. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to say what I think. I think it's too much stupid regulations. People think that now, with the European Parliament.
Do you feel then that that's something which has been pushed by the left then, this whole green agenda, and
Yeah.
people are saying we don't want that, so in order for that not to happen, because they keep, you know, I mean, everything's gone up, electricity's gone up. Yeah, we had our sun panels put on last year, this year, which we paid top dollar for. They now seems to have changed everything, and now they're giving away sun panels with every box of cornflakes, it would seem, because
Yeah.
nobody wants them, and so the bottom's fallen out of that market. And yeah, you can imagine how delighted I would have been 3 or 4 years ago to have had my own sun panel company, installation company. You know,
Of course.
I would have already have ordered my Mercedes, and now now I can afford is the key fob to let alone buy one. So it seems to change as well, and it would appear, I think, that a lot of people are looking to the left is saying, look, you know, it's all about changing, but nobody else seems to change. You want us to change,
Yes.
but nobody else seems to change. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I've also, when I was in politics, I'm still very interested, of course. I hope I'm interesting as well, of course. But you're
No.
not able to have, over a cheese. You can't have this box only over Europe or Norway or Scandinavia, because people tend to think like that. We have to be the best, but when you are much further on, in a race, if they're running 3,000 meters on and if one of the runners are really far ahead, it's the opposite of we can't reach him anyway. Let's just relax. But if he's leading on, as we did in many other things, like in the women's right and stuff like that, then I think it's okay to be in the front, but you have to be in the circle. We are just
So you're saying
taking off.
that Europe had and all the West then, and we're speaking predominantly about Europe. They had this opportunity to be the pacemaker, and to get things rolling. And now all of a sudden, we're just continuing with the race, and the rest of the world. I mean, I can understand why people are chopping down trees if they're cold, or if they need to cook. And here we are screaming about, why are people chopping down trees? It seems to be this sort of massive inequality in life, which the left, I think, personally, was one of the really interesting things about left-wing politics, was that it was supposed to be an equalizer, but them shouting about to the rest of the world, this is the way to do it, has left a lot of people behind. Because they, maybe they don't necessarily agree it's the way to do it, but I think the other issue is they don't have the money to do it. You're too busy surviving. Too busy paying groceries.
India, just to take a country, enormous with per capita, they can't do this. They can't use the European or the Scandinavian model or the Norwegian model to take it step by step, because it's more and more expensive. So, but the business for example, in Norway is crying and dying. So why are we doing this? Is it only because when the big day is coming that we are something is happening in the atmosphere and we're all dead and there's not more oxygen left or whatever? We won, at least, kind of. And that people don't understand, and people don't want to. People never, as a politician, don't underestimate people, because it's people the politicians are supposed to listen to in a democracy, anyway.
It would. We've seen this happen here. I mean, I'm just an observer, as I've commented on before, because I don't have a Dutch passport, so I'm not able to vote here. But you've seen this great, left wing, the leftist parties, the Green and the Labour Party, joining together with Frans Timmermans, who was a big advocate for green policies in the European Council. He came back he gave that job up, €350,000 job up, to come back to Holland to lead this for the first time ever, the Greens and the Labour Party together, which itself is quite fractious. And people just don't, they don't like him, or they don't like the politics, and they've literally said, well, no, let's all go to the right. Let's have a centralist right-wing government, and we have a gentleman who was, friends with Orbán. Is Orbán the Hungarian Prime Minister? Shares a lot of shares a lot of very right-wing points of view about Muslims and ethnic minority people. And now all of a sudden he's the guy holding the political strings in Holland. Now,
But I don't think
unheard of.
that.
Unheard of.
Yeah, I don't think that the reason. I don't think that we are very right-winged people in Europe, but they are taking a side on this matter that really goes into our pockets when we go, as you said,
Yeah.
to buy a packet of cornflakes. It's so expensive and it's smaller and smaller. You know, the
Yeah.
packaging,
Yeah.
the
Inflation.
manufacturers are, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
so it's only a piece of it's you know, people don't stand for this any longer, because people, if you destroy the middle class, like what I think is happening now, the middle class in Europe, we always had a high middle class, at
Yeah.
least in Scandinavia and also in Europe, but especially
also in the Netherlands as well, and in Belgium and Germany.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the Scandinavian model and the Norwegian model, and it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, because
It's gone
this was quite
because they're going to save the world. We are the world. We are the. You know, it's people don't want to sing that any longer, because if the rest of the world, we're in it together, and people know that. So if we're not fighting this this thing together with anyone, and people know. I know going to Saudi Arabia for you know, and how many planes was it, 80 planes or whatever. I just have
to the UAE.
yeah. And I have an example, because let's say it was 3 years ago, 3 years ago, there was a big thing here in Norway, because there was a lot of venture capital out there for making power plant, a battery plant in Norway.
Yeah.
And we had 80 different municipalities. You know, well, I hate that word.
Yeah.
You know, and
regions, economic regions,
regions, and all of them were making a lot of work. Also, my, you know, all over Norway, 80 places, and they wrote nicely compendiums, and they were making this kind of rally to get this factory. And now we see on the television, all they have done in these 3 years is to make a nice tester. And the company, the guys who's behind the company, they had a heck a lot of money from the Norwegian government and the EU system, and they're loaded with money, and just well, we didn't make it, kind of, you know. And you know, giving hope and expectations, and again, just see that it's for nothing, and a few people are getting so wealthy and rich that you can, you know, that's also a part of this. I don't think that we are going through another right-wing period, because I think just the left wing have done things wrong.
Yeah.
And some of them.
I'll tell you what I found really interesting this time around is that you hear middle-class people who are commenting on, because, you know, it's always from the left, either either universal credit or universal wage, or the basic wage should all be increased by X, Y, Z amount, to lift people out of poverty. Well, money
Yeah.
doesn't lift people out of per se out of poverty, but a combination of work and a good education will lift people out of poverty. And now you see really that the gap between the lowest waged people and the middle class has never been so small. And you hear these comments about, well, I have my house. I spend a lot of money on my education, and it's okay that people have a livable wage. But what about my wage now in the middle class? It's been eaten away from the bottom up.
Yeah.
And people are very unsure about that. It's the first time, because there are arguments for and against banding people between working class, middle class, and upper class. I mean, I'm a Brit, so I have my own points of view about how obnoxious that system is. But
really,
yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. But it is now, for the first time, when middle class people are struggling. Middle class people are going to the food bank. Middle class people, who work 40 hours a week, maybe both of them, and they've got a small family. The cost of living is just eating away at them. And it's like I say, it's a strange world. And I think that the only understandable / shall we say populist message that has been given is coming from the right. The rest is all complicated.
Yeah.
And so people said, I understand that. Maybe there are too many asylum seekers. Maybe they are, there's the electricity should be done in a different way, or maybe we're spending too much money supporting Ukraine to fight the Russians. There's a lot of people in Europe who say, who cares? It's not our fight.
I know.
They're not in the European Union.
I know.
And this was like a year ago. That would have got me crucified to have made that sort of statement. But now you're starting to hear it.
Yeah, and we are anyway. If we are left wing or right wing, if we feel things on our body and on our family that we are not able to have our kids doing the same activities that they did before, we can't travel to Spain or whatever, not that expensive holidays. I'm not talking your own yet, but with Ryanair or whatever. If we are not able to do this, what we have always done, kind of, and we believe that we are worth it because living up north and it's cold, and maybe we need it, and all these bonuses. Maybe calling being rich or whatever. It's not rich. It's in the middle, as you say. It's smothering, and people will miss it. And then you have the interest coming like shit. So no, I don't believe it's because I don't believe it's because of all the reasons the right wing say. I think it's because of people who are used to have enough money to have a car, to have to fill gasoline, and to go on a weekend in Rome or whatever, in Barcelona, or they can't do it any longer.
Yeah.
And the kids who wants well, it's cold in Norway. They want to have skates, for example. I see now in the neighborhood where I live, they are. They've never been like that before. As long as I live, there are no helping. Like. You can borrow these old skates and
yeah.
you
Whereas
you know
before people would just go
yeah
and buy them. Yeah. But
yeah
have we been living in a utopian bubble then for the last 20 years? Do you think? Because
partly
you know,
yes yeah
yeah. I mean,
partly but
to contradict my own argument, then, which is always a good way to. I mean, it makes me almost a politician, doesn't it? Compliment to contradict your own argument, but yeah, so it was a good period the last 20 years, and now all of a sudden it's
yeah
disappeared, and people are saying, "Well, where have all the good times gone?" It
yeah
started with COVID, and then it's and then they chuck a couple of wars in, and
yeah
oh yeah, the good old climate change, and then
yeah
things are fundamentally different. It's a sense of there is certainly a generation of people who don't experience or haven't experienced no. Everything's been
yeah
yes. So
I know, but we build it up. The people, at least in Norway and Scandinavia, I know most of course. We build this, and we were very lucky in Norway. We found oil and gas, of course,
yeah,
and so we've been living on this this bubble. But we see we have the largest fund in the world, and we see the money goes to investments in other countries.
yeah,
Almost only, and we have roads like we have more poor roads in Norway than in Serbia, and I'm not saying that Serbia is a bad country, because in 1950, in the 50s and the beginning of the 1960s, Norway was the second poorest country in the world. But so I'm not talking down poor countries, but
yeah,
we have been, we have changed along with the time. Things have calmed. We were able to buy new houses, gadgets, as I call it, and
yeah, yeah,
then you're a bit rich, the middle class.
yeah.
Now the middle class is really struggling,
But
and
isn't there a
that's not
mechanism
good.
then in the Norwegian sovereign wealth fund? There seems to be a crazy thing that you have all that money from oil and gas.
Yeah,
And giving it to other people, probably to get a good return on that investment. Money,
yeah, of course.
krona for krona, but
Yeah,
not. But to invest in your own people, that seems to be slightly, yeah, I
yeah.
don't know, slightly
What
distasteful thing to do, I think.
they are afraid of is inflation, but there are many things you can do without there being more inflation. No, this is kind of, it's tough politics, because it's not that easy, kind of, to just increase the to use too much money in your own country. Then in the end you will eat yourself up, kind of,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and the value of the monies and everything. We should have the professor here. He would clarify this. But at least people are pissed off, that they're mad, and
yeah,
there's so many hoax in this. The Norwegian government supplied very affordable electrical cars to just only to be the winners, because we are in a race, and that is to be the best in the class. For example, now in the climate war, kind of. But when we see what the Chinese are doing, they're building all these new power coal mines. It's not an ordinary what we're used to in the UK or other places. It's enormous. They can do whatever they want to, but we have to suffer for all.
Yeah. Well, I found a little bit of news talking about suffering. I found a little bit of news which I wanted to share with everybody. And
suffering.
This is suffering. So this is. Let's get this up and have a look.
Hey.
So this is Kim Jong-un, and he was on state TV in North Korea, and he was crying in front of the Congress of Women because he says that they have to have more babies, and he was desperately upset, and so he says to them, the fact that we don't have any babies really upsets me, and I think you should go and have a lot more babies.
Yeah.
And he's actually said, look, the rate of children of pregnancy has plummeted. Well, that may be something to do with the fact, Mr. Ung, that you're starving people to death because they're more concerned about eating than they are about having children. But it still didn't stop him from crying, and it was such a sad thing that he was in tears that all of the audience started to cry as well, and which I thought was rather sad. But he did warn everybody. He said, "Look, don't you start having any of that foreign influence over here. You don't want any of that. If you're going to have children, they have to. You have to send your children to perform hard labor. And if there's any bad behavior that's not our style, so what not our North Korean style bad behavior is, I don't know, but they've got to get a serious spanking, I think. And please do something because he doesn't have any babies, and it's made him cry. Look. So this week in North Korea. So it's not we've got it good. It would seem, Mort. We've got it good, mate. Because
we do.
Maybe we should be crying. Should we start crying then? Now, do you think that'll change the population?
Yeah. But the fantastic. I have a friend who gave me this. You're looking at the YouTube probably now, and on YouTube there's a fantastic. I hope that the translations are right. That and all the things he's done. He was visiting the sun. As I mentioned earlier in the program, it only took 4 hours or so, and just showing how much in front his country is. So and if they are not crying on demand, that the people we saw there, the women, if they are not crying, they will cry for real, kind of,
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, it's a sad thing. I'm sure if the Norwegian Prime Minister or the Dutch Prime Minister, whoever he will be or she will be, will start crying and saying, "I need more babies." I'm sure everybody will switch the TV straight off and go upstairs and do it for.
Of course, at once
for the country. Yeah, as we all should be. Which so
yeah.
doing it for
But in
Norwegian.
but in Europe now is it 1.8 children or something like that?
Yeah,
At least
yeah.
maybe
I'm more
in.
concerned about the 0.8 children because they're probably going to be very ugly.
You're a 0.8. You know.
Oh, I've met a few
Yeah.
of those. I'll tell you, a few 0.8 children. There's quite a few of them around.
Oh,
It
that's
used
a
to be.
good one. Yeah.
It used to be 2.2, I think, which is even worse. I mean, you're only a 0.2 then. The other
Oh,
two were all right,
yeah.
and then it was 2.2 children. Yeah,
But
yeah,
in Norway, especially, let me see, especially in Norway, because we're seeing. I'm so old that I've seen the difference before and after the oil boom,
yeah.
and I was living in. I was also interested in politics since I was 13, and I went to conventions and
So it's
each
all your fault
other.
then. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Huh?
It's
No,
all your fault.
it is that we were like everyone getting rich too quick is not good. Sudden changes. Because then people were getting more and more faster and faster. They wanted, okay, the neighbor has a new TV, or even has a TV in the beginning.
Yeah,
We have to have it as well, and the egoism has been taken over totally,
yeah.
and even
It's a sense of they have and I must have. It's a big
yeah,
concern.
kind of, yeah,
And
and
facilitate that
you're willing to.
facilitate that with 20 years of low interest rates and money
Yeah,
slushing around everywhere. Yeah,
yeah,
I
and of
just
course, yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, but of course, if your neighbor who's also in the middle class uh, can afford to buy whatever, a new gadget, as I call it. It's not necessarily a gadget, but it's really things we don't need. We need a car. We live like in the background here, so with even no roads, is almost the same. So we should have done what the left wing, when we builded Norway, the left wing said we are going to do this together, and then in in the 1800s, they used over a half of the country's budget only to make a railway from Bergen to Oslo, the two
Yeah,
largest city, and then they made it with efforts and step by step, and they had people with them all the time because you were building, but you don't have that energy. People don't care. People are changed as well as they have more money in the pocket. We are changing constantly. So people today are, uh, now they have the answer for what they have really done. If you're being very selfish, you will one day or another you will get it back.
yeah.
What you give is what you get. I'm thinking.
Yes, yes. My father would always tell me that the world is round. I never understood that when I was a teenager, but the older I get, the more I understand. I understand what he means by that. And
Well, there is
I,
a union who says that that the Earth is
the
flat.
world is flat.
So
Yeah, yeah. Mark,
Yeah,
well, that's fair enough.
we can join that.
Yeah, the flat Earth Society. Yeah, I mean, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. It's flat, I suppose.
Hmm.
Maybe that's if you're part of the 1.8 generation children that you can understand what a flat Earth means.
Yeah.
or the 2.2. But just one last thing then before we wrap things up today. I took a journey
Yeah.
today on the metro and then on the train into The Hague to get some paperwork and stuff sorted out, which I had to do. And Annette said to me yesterday, she said, "Well, everybody's coughing and spluttering," and it would appear that a
What
lot
is
of it
this?
is well. This is what's because there's this big hoo-ha about this is another pandemic, and in many respects it is, because it seems to have affected very small children and a lot of teenagers. Not old crusty old farts like me, because I had my immunization about 2 or 3 weeks ago. But it's what's called the white lung, and this is basically because you're coughing up sort of not the green phlegm that you normally cough up when you have another form of influenza. This actually comes out as being predominantly light or white in color. And this seems to have really affected small children and a lot of teenagers, younger people up to 25. These are the people who were stuck indoors for 3 years during the COVID period. So the natural immunities that you got as a small child, or as a teenager, you didn't pick up. And now I was just sitting. Normally, I would be, in a cacophony of secondhand telephone conversations on the metro and on the train, which drives me crazy. But that's only because I'm old.
Yeah.
But today it was just a cacophony of coughing, lots of coughing and spluttering. So so that's
Wow.
yeah. It would appear that it's you can get over it. It's for older people. It can lead to pneumonia, and it's something that you do get over. So yeah, that's another little echo of the long forgotten COVID SARS-2 nightmare.
Yeah. And after the COVID, I'm sure it would be after kind of reactions. People didn't. So some kinds of reactions it would be.
Yeah, because normally, I don't know what it was like when you were small, but I mean, I remember when neighbours would come and knock on the door and they'd say, "Oh, has David had chicken pox or measles or whatever?" And if you hadn't had them, they'd send you around to play with the kids, so everybody would get it at the same time. Get it over and done with. My mother would
just
say.
the same, just the same.
Yeah.
And we also had these. What we in Norway we called them the aunts, and they were did you blah, 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 blah. They were important in the society also, even if we called them different names.
Well, everybody was auntie. Everybody who was a friend of my mother or lived next door or wherever in the street would always be auntie. So
but in that, it's typical when you get old, because then you think everything was better before. But
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's
no. But we. It was another time, kind of,
It was different. It was different.
It was different, yeah. And we were we took more care of each other, kind of. I don't know.
Well,
today it's me.
No, unfortunately, no. You're actually completely wrong. It's me, because I'm in charge of the buttons.
Yeah, and, come on.
And I'm going to
Yeah.
me the buttons very, very soon. Mort,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on the show. I mean, it's your show. I should thank you. I don't know why I'm thanking you. You invited me on.
Come
But
on, it's lovely.
I'm the button pusher today because Uncle Stephen is out, creating chaos in the USA. Hide your children. That's all I can say.
Wow.
We'll be back next week. If you have anything to
Yeah.
say about the subjects we covered, please make comments below. There's lots of 2OF merch available. We're merched out for Christmas, so you can get all that. All the links you'll
Woo.
find below as well. And we'll see you all next week. Could be a full
Have
house.
fun and take
just
care
be
of each
two.
other.
Yeah, it could just be boring old Mort and me.